You know that moment when your grandkid hesitates to hug you, or maybe steps back just a little when you lean in close? It's not because they don't love you. It's something else, something you might not even notice. A friend once shared how her little granddaughter whispered, "Why do you smell like the attic?" She laughed it off, but it stuck with her. She'd always prided herself on staying clean, fresh clothes, daily showers, but somehow that wasn't enough anymore. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. As we get older, our bodies change in ways we can't always see, but others can sense. A subtle scent that creeps in no matter how tidy we are. It's not about being unclean, it's just nature doing its thing. But here's the good part. You don't have to live with it. There are simple, everyday ways to turn it around. No expensive lotions, no complicated routines. Just practical steps that bring back the closeness you've been missing. Let's walk through it together and get you feeling fresh and confident again. So why does this happen? Why do we start to carry a scent we don't even notice as we get older? It's not because you're doing anything wrong, it's just how our bodies shift over time. Think about it like this. When you were younger, you'd sweat a bucket every day, flushing out all the junk through your skin. But now, that slows down, and the stuff that used to wash away just sits there, mixing with bacteria and turning into a musty smell, like a damp towel left in the corner. Then, there's your skin itself. It starts making a kind of natural oil that wasn't there before, something that smells a little earthy, a little like an old drawer you haven't opened in years. And don't forget your mouth. It gets drier as the years go by, with less spit to clean things up, so bacteria hang around longer and leave your breath less than fresh. This isn't about poor hygiene or letting yourself go. It's biology, plain and simple. A doctor in Ohio who studied folks like us for over 30 years says it's so common that most people over 60 have it and don't even know. But here's what matters. Once you understand it, you can do something about it. And that's exactly what we're going to cover next. Simple ways to tackle it head-on. Alright, now that we've figured out why that sneaky smell shows up as we age, let's dive into the first big way to tackle it. Washing the right way. You're probably thinking, hold on, I've been showering every day for decades. How could I be missing something? And that's a fair point. Most of us take pride in staying clean, keeping the soap handy and the water running. But here's the catch. It's not about how often you bathe or how much you lather up. It's about zeroing in on the spots that really need the attention. See, as we get older, our bodies don't play by the same rules anymore, and there are these hidden corners where sweat, oil, and bacteria team up to throw us off our game. I've talked to folks who'd scrub themselves pink and still catch their kids opening a window after a visit, or worse, see their grandkids squirm out of a hug. The good news? Once you know where to look, it's an easy fix, and it doesn't take much more than what you're already doing. Let's break it down step by step, so you can walk away from this feeling like a pro. First, let's talk about those skin folds, those little creases that sneak up on us over time. You've got them behind your ears, under your arms, maybe beneath your chest if you're a lady, or around your belly if you've got a bit of a cushion there. Even behind your knees or inside your elbows can be trouble zones. As we age, our skin gets softer and looser, and it starts folding in ways it never did when we were chasing toddlers around. Those folds are like cozy little pockets where sweat and dead skin hang out, mixing with bacteria to brew up that musty scent nobody wants. A friend of mine, she's 68, always prided herself on being spotless, told me she never thought twice about those spots until her daughter hinted at it one day. She started using a soft washcloth with warm water and a gentle soap like Dove or Cetaphil, and gave those creases a careful once-over. Within a week, she said her daughter stopped cracking the window every time she left the room. The trick here is to keep it simple. Warm water, not scalding hot, because that dries out your skin and makes things worse, and a mild soap that won't irritate. Work that washcloth in gently, no need to attack your skin like you're sanding down furniture. Just a thorough, easy pass, and you're golden. Next up, we've got the hairy areas, places where oil and sweat love to cling. Your scalp is the star of this show. Sure, you shampoo, but are you really getting in there? If you're just slapping on some suds and rinsing off, you're leaving behind a buildup that turns sour fast. I heard about a guy, let's call him Tom, 72, who thought his daily shampoo was enough until his wife pointed out his head smelled like an old coat. He started massaging his scalp with his fingertips for at least 30 seconds while shampooing, really working it in. And the difference hit quick. His wife laughed and said, "You're back to smelling like my Tom again." If you've got hair on your chest, under your arms, or even a little fuzz on your belly, don't skip those either. Lather them up good with that same mild soap, rinse well, and pat dry. It's not just about looks, it's about keeping those spots from turning into a scent factory. And here's a bonus tip. If your shampoo's too harsh, switch to something gentler. Harsh stuff strips your scalp and makes it overproduce oil, which only feeds the problem. Finally, let's not forget your feet and hands, those hard-working parts we lean on every day. Your palms, and especially your toes, are packed with sweat glands, and when that sweat gets trapped in socks or shoes, it's a party for bacteria. Ever kicked off your slippers and caught a whiff that made you wince? That's what I'm talking about. A lady I know, 65 and sharp as a tack, used to think washing her feet was enough, until her son. So, we've tackled washing the right way, but let's keep the momentum going with something just as powerful: everyday habits. These are the little things you do without thinking twice, but when you tweak them just right, they can make a world of difference in how you smell and feel. You don't need to overhaul your life or start jogging marathons. Trust me, nobody's got time for that. This is about small, doable shifts that fit into your day like they've always been there, helping your body stay fresh from the inside out. I've seen folks light up when they realize they don't need a miracle cure. Just a bit of consistency with stuff they already know how to do. Let's walk through 3 habits that'll have your family pulling you closer instead of reaching for the air freshener. First up is drinking water. Simple, sure, but hear me out. You've probably been told a million times to stay hydrated, but as we get older, it's not just about avoiding a dry throat. When your body's short on water, it can't flush out the junk, the toxins and waste that build up and sneak out through your skin as that stale smell we're trying to ditch. A lady I know, 71 and sharp as ever, used to start her day with coffee. Sound familiar? And figured that was enough liquid. But her daughter kept dropping hints about a funky vibe in the house. She switched things up. 1 glass of water first thing in the morning, with a slice of lemon to make it tasty. She's not big on plain water. And then kept sipping through the day, aiming for about 6 glasses. Nothing hot or complicated, just cool, refreshing water whenever she felt like it. 2 weeks later, she swore her skin felt cleaner and her daughter stopped wrinkling her nose. The trick? Make it easy. Keep a bottle by your chair or a pitcher on the counter. If coffee's your thing, no need to ditch it. Just add an extra glass of water for every cup to balance it out. It's like giving your insides a gentle rinse so the smell doesn't have a chance to stick around. Next, let's talk about getting outside for a light walk. Nothing strenuous, just a stroll. You might be thinking, I'm too old to start exercising, and I get it. Knees creak, hips grumble, and the couch is mighty comfy. But this isn't about breaking a sweat like you're training for the Olympics. A slow 20-minute walk, around your yard, down the block, or even to the mailbox and back, does wonders. Why? It gets you moving just enough to kickstart a little sweat, which helps clear out those pores, and if you catch some mild sunlight, it zaps the bacteria lounging on your skin. A guy I heard about, 74 and retired, used to sit inside all morning watching TV. His son kept saying the recliner smelled like a thrift store. He started stepping out after breakfast, just 15 minutes at first, then up to 20, and picked early mornings when the sun's soft, before it gets too hot. He told me he felt lighter, and his son stopped Febrezing the furniture. You don't need a fancy route, stick to what's close and easy, maybe before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. when the light's gentle. It's not just about the smell, it lifts your mood too, and who doesn't want that? The last one's about keeping your stuff fresh, your clothes, your socks, your bedding. You can be squeaky clean, but if what you're wearing or sleeping on is holding on to yesterday's odors, you're back at square one. Think about it. You spend hours every day in those socks, that shirt, that bed. Your skin's shedding, your scalp's shedding oil, and it all sinks in. A woman I know, 69 and a stickler for tidiness, didn't realize her pillowcases were the culprit until her grandkids said her room smelled like a dusty attic. She started washing her sheets and pillowcases every week, not monthly like before, and swapped her socks and underwear daily, sticking to cotton ones that breathe. We've covered washing right and tweaking daily habits, but let's round it out with something that hits closer to home. What you eat and how you care for your mouth. You might not realize it, but what goes in your body and what comes out when you talk plays a huge role in that smell we're chasing away. It's not just about garlic breath after a big Italian dinner. It's deeper than that. As we age, our insides shift, and the wrong foods can turn us into walking odor machines, while a dry mouth can make even a hello feel awkward. But don't worry, this isn't about giving up your favorites or brushing your teeth 10 times a day. It's about smart, simple choices that work with you, not against you. I've seen people turn this around with a few easy swaps and tricks, and the best part, they feel better all over, not just in how they smell. Let's dig into 3 ways to eat smarter and keep your mouth fresh. Your family will thank you for it. First, let's talk food. Because you really do smell like what you eat, and I don't just mean onions. As we get older, our bodies deal with something called oxidation. It's like rust inside us, breaking things down and adding to that musty vibe. The fix? Foods packed with antioxidants, stuff that fights the rust and keeps the stink at bay. Think apples, a handful of blueberries, a juicy tomato, or even half an avocado smashed on toast. These aren't weird health fads. They're things you've got in your kitchen right now. A guy I know, 76 and a meat and potatoes type, never touched fruit until his granddaughter said he smelled like the basement. He started munching an apple a day, nothing fancy, just while watching the news, and added a tomato to his sandwich. A month later, she hugged him and said, "Grandpa, you smell like outside now." If chewing's tough, blend them up. Toss some berries and a banana in a blender with a splash of water, and you've got a smoothie that does the job. On the flip side, cut back on the heavy stuff. Greasy fries, too much coffee, or a nightly beer. They dry you out or slow your digestion, letting waste sit and seep through your skin. Swap that second coffee for water or trade the beer for herbal tea once in a while. It's not a sacrifice, it's a trade-up. You'll feel lighter, and that old smell won't have fuel to stick around. Now, onto your mouth. Because even if your body's spotless, your breath can give you away. Ever notice how your mouth feels like cotton in the morning, or how it's harder to keep it fresh all day? That's because after 60, we make less spit, sometimes half what we used to. And spit's not just for swallowing. It's your mouth's cleanup crew, washing away food bits and germs that turn into bad smells. Without it, bacteria throw a party, and everyone else smells the aftermath. A woman I heard about, 70 and chatty, didn't get why her grandson backed off when she read him stories. She brushed twice a day, but it wasn't cutting it. Here's what worked. Brushing 3 times, morning, after lunch, and before bed, with a soft toothbrush and fluoride paste, hitting the gum line and back corners where stuff hides. Then she added a tongue scrape every morning, those cheap little scrapers you grab at the drugstore. She said it was weird at first, but after a week, her grandson snuggled close again. Why the tongue? It's where 90% of the stink makers live, and brushing alone won't touch it. Rinse after meals if you can't brush. Water's fine, but skip the alcohol mouthwash. It dries you out more. These steps don't take long, but they hit the problem where it starts. Last, let's boost that spit flow naturally, because a dry mouth is a smelly mouth, and we can fix that without a prescription. Chewing sugar-free gum's a game changer. Pick one with xylitol, like Trident, and chew for 10 minutes after eating. It kicks your saliva into gear, cleansed. We've walked through a lot together. Why that smell creeps in as we age, how to wash it away, habits to keep it at bay, and ways to eat and care for your mouth to seal the deal. It all boils down to this. You're not dirty, you're not alone, and you don't have to let those natural changes steal the closeness you deserve. I've heard stories that'd warm your heart. A grandmother who'd given up on cuddles because her grandkids always pulled back until she started scrubbing those hidden spots and sipping water like it was her job. Now they climb all over her lap without a second thought. Or a guy who thought his days of feeling fresh were behind him. But a short walk and a tongue scraper later, his daughter lingers longer at the dinner table just to chat. These aren't miracles. They're small, everyday choices you can start today with stuff you've already got at home. No doctor visits, no pricey gadgets, just you, a little know-how, and a willingness to give it a go. Here's the truth. Aging doesn't mean you're stuck with a smell that pushes people away. It's not about vanity. It's about feeling good in your own skin, walking into a room without a flicker of doubt, and getting those hugs, those close talks, those little moments that make life sweet. You don't need to spend a fortune or turn your routine upside down. Start with one thing. Maybe that extra glass of water tomorrow morning, or a quick scrub behind your ears tonight. See how it feels, then add another piece when you're ready. A week from now, you might catch your grandkid leaning in instead of shying away, or your spouse smiling a little wider when you sit close. That's the win. Not just smelling better, but living better, with the confidence you've earned over all these years. You deserve this. Not because of what anyone else thinks, but because you've spent a lifetime building love and connection, and nothing should take that away. Picture it. Your family gathered around, no one inching toward the door, just laughing and sharing like the old days. It's not a dream. It's what happens when you take these steps. So try it out. Pick one tip that stuck with you and run with it. Tell your kids how it goes, or share it with a friend over coffee. They might need this too. We're in this together, figuring out how to age with grace and a little grit, and there's more where this came from. Stick around with us. We'll keep bringing you simple, real ways to feel your best, because you've got too much life left to let a little smell slow you down. You're worth it. Go make it happen.